Hey everyone, as of recent we finally got the information for unit kits in part 2 of Hell's Paradise in JP. Starting off with Chove, he's a light human and his slots are 6-star physical, 5-star defense, and 4-star physical and defense. All really solid slots, especially the defense slot since it'll be really useful in the endgame. The 4-star physical is also great if you want to use grief on him. For his skill, it increases his attack by 30% for 7 seconds with a 13-second CT. It's a fairly solid attack buff, nothing too crazy. For his art, it does 20,000 light damage physical, and for 25 seconds, it reduces the enemy's break resist by 40% with 2,000 break. This is actually a pretty solid break resist debuff and will definitely allow him and others to break a lot easier. For his true art, it does 55,000 light damage physical, and for 65 seconds, increases own arts by 1 a second and break power by 30%, and it's stackable with 4500 break. This is definitely a fairly interesting true art. He's stacking arts gauge per use, but he's stacking break power as well, meaning that he'll get progressively better at breaking throughout the fight. Definitely really good for the longer fights that need consistent break. For his super art, it does 160,000 light damage physical, and for 65 seconds, he increases his own damage by 60% and own arts by 2 a second, which is stackable, with 4500 break. Definitely weird how he can also stack damage at the same time of stacking break, although it makes me wonder how he'll have time to stack his super arts damage if he's busy using his true art to break. But once it does get going, it's gonna be insanely easy to cycle throughout his kit really easily. For his passives, at 80% or higher HP, he ignores the enemy's defense by 100% and gets 100 arts at the start of the quest, as well as 70% damage to gods or demons. That defense ignore is certainly nice, especially on stages that negate or resist crit, and the 70% damage buff is insanely high as well, definitely going to have a noticeable impact on his damage. In all, he's one of the more unique units we've seen in a while. He's trying to be both a DPS and breaker, and it seems like he can do it pretty well. He's able to stack damage and arts like Jay, so once he gets going, he'll be unstoppable, but as of now, he seems to be a lot closer to Goblin Slayer with his break power and damage up. He's definitely going to see use in the endgame on stages that need to be broken to continue. After only 4 true art, he'll have over 100% break power, which will help him out a ton. Definitely a really versatile unit depending on what you need, very similar to his character in the anime as well. As for Yuzuriha, she's a dark human and her slots are 6-star physical, 5-star support, and 4-star magic or support. Definitely really solid slots, although it's unfortunate her 7-star slot is her usable one with a support slot, as her 4-star magic is never really going to be useful. For her skill, it heals her health by 40% and increases arts gauge by 20 with a 10-second CT. Really interesting, it gives an okay amount of arts, although the heal is insane, sitting at around 4% heal a second on average. For her art, it does 15,000 dark damage physical, and for 25 seconds, it increases own max HP by 60% and redirects 40% of all allies' damage to self. This is one of the more unique abilities I've seen in a bit. Seems to be a newish kind of mechanic. It's basically a taunt tank that redirects damage, but only partial. Rather than negating the damage as well after taunting the damage, like units such as Thetis or Kirisame, she's expected to out-heal the damage. She basically gives the rest of the team a 40% damage resist buff, while she takes more damage, which is why her skill is going to play a big part in her kit since it'll heal her by 40% while she's being attacked. For her true art, it does 52,000 dark damage physical, and for 25 seconds, it reduces the enemy's dark resist by 80%, and allies without status ailments get 4 arts a second. What's interesting about this true art is that the arts gauge being conditional to having a status ailment could mean that it has a new typing. If that's the case, Yuzuriha is going to be a lot better since she'll be able to stack Archen with every other unit in the game. The dark resist down is also pretty good for herself and others. As for her super art, it does 140,000 dark damage physical, and for 20 seconds, it reduces the enemy's physical resist based on current HP when her super art is activated, up to 200% physical resist down. This is actually an insane debuff because a debuff of 200% physical damage is going to allow both herself and others to deal a crazy amount of DPS. It's not the longest lasting, but it is certainly strong while it's active. For her passives, when she's leader, human allies get 50% damage up, she gets 100% paralysis resist and 30% physical resist. The AoE 50% damage for humans is actually really solid, and definitely makes her solid as a physical human buffer. The paralysis resist is whatever, although the physical resist is really nice for when she has to taunt damage. It'll lower the damage that she takes by quite a bit actually. In all though, Yuzuriha is shaping to be an interesting unit. She can give human units a base 50% damage, art gen with a potential new typing, as well as lowering both dark and physical resist, which is going to make her used on quite a bit of different teams since she gives support to a lot of them, such as dark teams, physical teams, or a mixture of both. And the most unique part to her is of course her art, considering it redirects 40% of your team's damage to her, so she doesn't taunt all their damage, but enough to take away a considerable amount from them. It seems like she's going to want to be Waran with Haruto since she'll probably be able to out-heal anything and have like 16,000 or more HP. We'll have to see how she plays in actual content though to see if she's worth chasing as of now. They also released the equips. For a quick overview of them, the first is the 5-star Yuzuriha's Kunai. For 15 seconds, it increases all stats by 20% or 30% if a human uses it, with a 45-second CT. Definitely really interesting, especially on top of Yuzuriha's art, which will undoubtedly bring her close to 20,000 health fairly consistently. Next is the 5-star support Yuzuriha's Hairpin. It increases allies' arts by 30 and for 60 seconds increases own physical damage by 25%, and it's stackable, with a 35-second CT. Pretty nice damage buff, and for most comps, you're only going to want to use it twice before the duration ends, but 50% damage for yourself is pretty solid for sure. Next is the 5-star physical Yuzuriha's Bamboo Tubes. For 20 seconds, it increases physical damage by 50% and recovery amount by 30% with a 40-second CT. Definitely a long duration, and the heal amount is pretty good for Yuzuriha, although it's not the best equipped for most units. Next is the 5-star support Yuzuriha's Clothes. For 10 seconds, it increases allies' arts by 2 a second, and human allies get 60% break power. While the break power is certainly nice, the arts gauge from it is abysmal, and is more of a drawback than the break power buff actually provides. You're better off running an equip like a Surface Hunting Dagger if you need a bit of AoE break power. Next is the 5-star physical, Chobi's X. It does 12,000 light damage physical, and for 15 seconds increases own physical damage by 100%, and reduces the enemy's light resist by 25% with a 70-second CT. Definitely seems like a nuke item, really strong at that, but very niche. After that is the 5-star defense Chobi's Clothes. For 30 seconds, all allies get 30% damage resist against gods with a 50-second CT. It has a really long uptime as well as duration, which means that with good equip CT, it can get pretty low, which will mean that this equip can be up for some time. That's it for the banner equips, nothing too crazy or really worth chasing there. For the units though, Yuzuriha seems to be very promising and could potentially be an insane valuable character from what I see in her kit, since she not only arch-gens, but provides physical resist down, as well as taunting capabilities. And as for Chobi, he's gonna last for a bit since he can not only break but act as a DPS. So in longer content that needs consistent break, he's really gonna shine there since he can not only break but also damage as well. But in general, I wouldn't say anyone here is worth pitying yet, in both the unit and equip banner. If you did enjoy, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.